Hello everyone, welcome back to Paint the Party. A bit different this week. I recently purchased a Elegoo Mars 5 Ultra as well as the washing and curing station, so I thought it'd be kind of cool to do a little behind the scenes unboxing for you guys. Before we get any further into the unboxing, I just want to give you guys a shout out for all the support on the last video. It outperformed all my other videos by a crazy amount. And there's plenty of new subscribers, so thank you for that. It's very, very helpful mentally, especially when I'm doing this sort of stuff. So yeah, if you're not subscribed and you like this kind of stuff, then please subscribe and join the Paint the Party family, or the party I guess we should call it. Doesn't have a name. Anyway, this is me unboxing the washing and curing station. So this is where you wash and cure the minis after you've printed them. Well, I will be anyway, because that's mainly what I'll print. It comes with this little UV protective box as well, which is kind of cool because it won't actually turn the UV lights on unless the box is on top. But you'll see that later on. This is the printer itself. It took me an embarrassingly long time to get this out of the box. There was a lot of nerves going into this because of it's fairly expensive to someone like me, so I was being very, very careful with it, and then slap that with all the cautions and warnings about resin. So yeah, it was an eventful evening. I was lucky enough to have my good friend Luke from STL. I'll shout his channel out below if you want to check out his stuff. He does a lot of FDM printing stuff, and he's just started out like me too, so go show him some love if you like that kind of stuff. This is the little toolkit that it comes with. So there's like a couple of masks and some gloves to protect your skin. I'm fairly sure all the reviews I watched going into this said the masks were kind of a waste of time and you need an actual respirator. Whether or not that's true, I guess we'll find out in 20 years time when I'm super ill from all the resin I've inhaled. This is a little print head, it just clips on there nicely. All of the research I did for this, I did on the Mars 4 Ultra, because that's the one I was originally going to buy, and then there was a sale on, and this one worked out cheaper, or the same price as I was going to pay for the Mars 4 Ultra, so I went with the Mars 5. That's a little AI camera in there, so it films like a time lapse of the print, and it also detects any failures and just stops if it detects a massive failure. So yeah, pretty cool little bit of kit. One thing that we did agree on is how cool this thing looks. I'm a big fan of like just black and white and like sleekness, and this thing really fits the bill. So because of all the research I'd done on the Mars 4 Ultra, I was expecting to have to manually level the plate, and then after us standing in the kitchen and scratching our heads, we realised it self levels, which is, I'm pretty sure, just a feature for the 5 series. I could be wrong, but worth knowing if you're looking at buying one of these printers. You can add it to the Wi-Fi, and then you can connect it to an app on your phone, and you can just monitor the whole process of the print through an app on your phone. So I had mine set up in the garage and just monitored it from there, knew when it was nearly finished. The only thing I'm trying to figure out now is just keeping the temperature of the machine and the resin, because we're going into the colder months now in the UK, so I need to figure that out. I've got a few ideas in mind, but if anybody is a seasoned pro at resin printing and they want to give me some tips or an Amazon list, then that would be very, very helpful. So it just ran through all these self-tests fairly quickly. It does these every time you power it up. So that was about it for the printer. This is the washing and curing station. This is me just showing that if I try and cure anything with the UV lights, it won't let you do it without the protector on. I didn't know if that was actually a feature. I just thought, let's see if an idiot like me could blind himself, and the answer is no. And then it just twirls nicely with the minis on there and gets them nice and cured. So this is my first experience with resin, and I mentioned the nerves earlier on, and it was very tense in the garage on this evening. So the print I went with is the Cones of Calibration, I think it's called. I'll link it below. It's basically like a fantasy themed print, and on their website they've got like a flow chart of, if it failed on this, then you need to change these settings, and then all the way through to a successful print. I was very, very fortunate in that I only failed on 2 of the failure cones, which are meant to fail. I think there's 5 of them, 4 of them failed and 1 of them didn't. But on the flowchart that said that's kind of fine and acceptable. I'm pretty sure it was just down to the temperature. As I mentioned, I was doing it in the garage, which isn't ideal, but just work with what you've got, because I didn't want all the fumes in the house, basically. Yeah, you'll have to excuse the lighting as well, because it is a garage, so. And with the print done, I filled up the washing station with isopropyl alcohol, which just washes off any like residue resin, and you just pop off the print head. And then this is one of the dumbest things I've ever done, because it was called the drip tray, which is the little black plastic thing attached to the resin reservoir. My brain was like, oh, okay, well, all the drip goes in there then. And when obviously anybody with a brain will tell you that drip it back into the resin vat to preserve more resin, but you guys know what I'm like now. So and this was me scraping it off. Very tense moment. I cut a lot of the footage out because I didn't want people screaming at me. It came off fine in the end. And then this is it in the washing station. So you just press wash, and then however much time you want, and then go. And it wears away very quickly as well. So once it had a good bath, I took it out of here and then just straight into the curing station. I think we ended up doing like 5 minutes. It was like two and a half, and then another 2.5. Just because we could kind of still see some wetness on there. So that about does it for the unboxing. I got a lot of ideas for things I want to print, but if there's anything you guys want to see printed, then go nuts in the comments and I'll do my best to print it. But yeah, like I said, thanks so much for the support on the last video. New diorama next week. There's a sneak peek on a short video, but thanks for watching everyone. See you in the next one.